Now it's time for Weird Church Stories.
So we'll go ahead and read. This is from It's My Fault. He says, the kids were putting on a program and one of the kids threw up. The instinct of the teacher sitting beside him, who was an ex-football player, was to catch the throw up in his hands. It was hilarious. It just sounds gross.
Sometimes you just react.
Throw up is so gross to me, it's hard for me to find it funny because I'm just repulsed by it.
Adam says that he's on the AV team, and on the Sunday after 9/11, the board decided it was time to die spectacularly with a loud sound akin to automatic weapons fire. It was great. Oh my gosh.
From Kelly, there was a guy sitting in the front pew and he pulled out a 12-inch Subway sandwich and started eating it during our sacrament meeting. My family was sitting right behind, dying laughing, and then when he ate the whole thing, he bent over, reached underneath the pew, and pulled out a 2-liter jug of grapefruit-flavored soda pop. He drank the whole thing. It was the best meeting ever.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Wow. A man with Down syndrome stole a potted plant from me, and I didn't have the guts to stand up for myself.
I don't think Hugh knew what we were doing.
Wait,
I think you
what was
misunderstood
this
the
again?
assignment.
It happened so fast.
Okay, Hugh, this is from
he
you.
doesn't even say that it happened in church.
This was you says, let me read it again because I was laughing. A man with Down syndrome stole a potted plant from me and I didn't have the guts to stand up for myself. He got busted.
Here's one from David Russell. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban walked in and sat 3 pews in front of us.
Oh, that's cool.
An interesting story.
So this brings my Denzel Washington story. I think I've told this before.
No,
Do you remember
I have
this?
not. You haven't
you got a
Denzel
story?
I
Washington
could have sworn I've told.
Kyle. No, you didn't tell me I would remember the
We
Denzel
visited a
Washington
black church in South Central LA,
Uh-huh.
and it was for a college assignment. Go visit a black
story.
church
Aw, that's cute.
because it was all white people in the
Sure.
college, you know. So you had to
That
go.
was really the assignment?
No, it was go visit a church that's outside your normal like denomination.
The subtext is go visit,
Go visit a black church. I read between the lines.
Or one of
Yeah.
those Korean churches with the white vans.
Yeah,
that drive all around it.
Yeah,
So anyway, we go and it's a massive church,
Yeah.
and I've never seen this done before, but they did the offering time, and they passed around the plate, and then they said, stand up if you gave money. And so everybody who gave money stood up.
Oh boy. Yeah,
and then
that's
they said,
old school.
remain standing if you gave more than. And so it was like an
Oh, they
elimination
did
game.
that? Oh, that's a black church.
So they
thing,
start getting
yeah.
up to percentage of income, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, if you gave 5% of your income, if you gave 10%, I think they got up to like 25% of your income, and we were like looking around, and like 3 pews in front of us is Denzel Washington, and he's still standing. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we know why they have this big building.
Oh.
So
wow.
so then they did a meet and greet time, and my brother and my wife both got up and walked all the way down to him and like scooted in the pew and shook his hand.
Oh wow, good for them. I wouldn't have the.
And my wife said he has
Guts.
soft hands. So
It's like it says in the Bible, when you give to charity, stay standing until everyone knows you gave the most.
Zach says that our pastor was preaching about victory after a long, hard fight, but accidentally said long, hard fart. Church dismissed.
did they really dismiss church? Did the pastor
I
really
would-
go like, all right, we're done?
I would be done. I would be done. Even at my age, I can't not laugh at a fart.
This one is from Deanne. I went into labor before the service, but we decided to go anyway because this was our 4th kid and we'd be closer to the hospital anyway. Ended up having to leave halfway through and baby was born a little while later.
Like, yeah, we gotta go to
I'm going
church.
into labor. Yeah, but we should go to
Casual.
church for
Yeah.
That's very 4th kid.
Yeah, that's very 4th kid.
This one from Aubrey. I know I've already added one. Oh, I guess she
You
submitted
did
a
another one, I
couple.
guess.
But there is a bone in our church basement. It looks exactly like a juvenile human femur, and it's been there for years. There's also an action figure next to it. We don't know where it came from, but it's now the go-to spot to show newcomers. Hey, do you want to see our femur and action figure?
Oh my god.
Want to see our
That's
bone?
insane.
Is
Wow.
this like going to turn into one of those churches where it's like actually a cult?
Yeah, it's like there's a bone in the basement.
There's
So my funny church story, this happened several years ago. While I was at church, it was one of those days, and I will preface this by saying everyone was fine. Nobody was like seriously
Okay.
sick or anything. But it was one of those days when the air conditioner wasn't working in summer, and there was these 2 80-year-old women. They were sisters, and they were in the pew in front of me and my family and my brothers. In the middle of the service, one of them like passed out, like lost consciousness. everyone's freaking out. They're like, oh, we have to call the ambulance. We've got to get help for her. And her sister was like going outside to wait for the ambulance. And I was like, it's an 80-year-old lady. Her sister's in trouble. I'll walk out. And I walked outside and was waiting with her for the ambulance to come. And the ambulance pulls up in front of the church, and they get out with the gurney and they start to go inside. And this 80-year-old woman, while her sister's inside passed out, bangs on the hood of the ambulance and yells to them. She goes, hey, you can't park here. This is an emergency lane.
We used to have a member of our church when I went to my father-in-law's church back in Gary, and it was a small congregation, and so we did have like very open pulpit. If you got a word from the Lord, you had a song, and there's one wonderful young lady who loved to sing, but really was just the worst singer ever. And when I say worst, I mean like no pitch, no, like she never really knew all the words. She was totally flat and loud. And she would always be like, amazing grace. That's how she would sing.
Like really trying to sell
amazing. And so every time we would see her like tiptoe into the aisle, we'd be like, oh no. Oh no. Cause like usually it would be towards the end of service when we were like desperate to get out of there. My father-in-law, he will preach for an hour, and if you get fidgety, he'll be like, oh, you don't have enough energy to sit for the Lord. I bet you if you were in the club, you'd sit there for 2 hours. And anyway, we'd see her. And one day she got up there and it was just it was like, oh no, please. And she was like, God gave me this song. And she starts singing the song and her 14-year-old brother is sitting in front of us and he just bursts out laughing as she's singing. And then we couldn't control it because once he started laughing, then all the laughter we were holding in, we started laughing. So me and my husband started laughing hysterical. So it's 3 of us laughing hysterically in this tiny church while she's singing the worst song ever. And she looked at us and I remember thinking, I'm laughing at her. This is wrong. So I turned it into like praise, I was like, oh God, Jesus, yeah. It was I'll never forget her brother just falling to pieces because she was so terrible. And I was like, I can control myself every week, but sitting behind him, it was too much for me. I couldn't do it. Anyway.
That's great. Well, yeah. Next time you laugh at me, I expect you to turn it into praise.
Okay, Jesus.
Well, I guess I've already thrown a few of my stories in, but growing up, it was a mega church type environment, so they were always doing weird like object lessons and weird like, like the pastor would bring in a chainsaw and fire it off to like make some point about killing sin or something. I don't know. One of them was the pastor was famous for like playing Braveheart clips. Like it was always a joke of how is he going to fit Braveheart into this? And it was like, sure enough, next Sunday there's another Braveheart clip.
Wow.
But that was fun. So there was one time I remember the pastor did a sermon on like parenthood, and he's talking about being a good father, and he was like doing a very serious point, and he's like, and I'm reminded of that old song, "The Cat's in the Cradle," and he like presses play, or he has the whole church just sits there silently while they play "The Cat's in the Cradle."
The whole song.
The whole song.
That's so
on the stereo or whatever. We're all just
so
sitting
weird.
there like, okay.
It's like, oh, this is just a way for me to force my congregation to listen to my favorite
I like this song,
Yeah.
so we're gonna play it.
Yeah, we're gonna play it and find some meaning in it.
Oh, hi. Satan here. I just wanted to tell you, as the father of lies, I'm so proud of the Babylon Bee for spreading right-wing misinformation under the guise of satire. Just like me, they're tricking grandmas on Facebook every day, so like and subscribe or whatever. You do you.